Now, the Ivory Tower is one of the most hallowed institutions in our society today. Now, whether you like it or not, it is one of those institutions that determine how the world views the society, because it's the highest level of education in every society. So Nigeria is not left out. We have some very prestigious universities, polytechnics, and of course other higher institutions in this country. Now, one of the questions that run through the mind of the average Nigerian is, most of the products of these higher institutions, are they really worth it? Do they actually carry the image of the higher institutions? Okay, do our universities or our ivory towers dish out graduates based on merit or other factors? And that's basically one of the things we're going to be taking a look at today. My name is Harry Igboje, and of course it's my pleasure to have you join me on this amazing episode of the show. It's FLIPSIDE on independent television, and today we're going to be having a very, very interesting, robust conversation. The topic of discourse today is upholding academic and moral standards in Nigeria's ivory tower. Upholding academic and moral standards in Nigeria's ivory tower. Now, it is no news that students are usually awarded for character and learning. Okay, so the question is this really true of most of our higher institutions today, most of our ivory towers today? And that's basically what we're asking today. And I've got two amazing gentlemen with me in the house to do justice to this. They are familiar faces. They've been there, done that. And it's an honor to have both of them on the show with me. To my far left is someone who happens to be a social impact commentator. He's also a public affairs analyst, and he goes by the name of Favor Sadze. Welcome on board, bro.
Good morning, or rather afternoon.
Welcome on board.
Thank you so much.
All right, and seated next to Favor is someone else who is also a social impact commentator. He's a public affairs analyst, and he happens to be in the academics. He goes by the name of Ivory Chukwu.
Good afternoon. Yes.
It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's begin by examining some of the ills, that bedevil the ivory tower. Just like I said in opening, the ivory tower is one that is judged by both character and learning. Okay, so what are some of those ills, some of those, should I say, elements that are constituting a clog to the wheels of the progress of the ivory tower as far as, character and learning are concerned? Let me begin with you, Favor.
Okay, not so much, because I would say they stem around some certain concepts. And first will be the concept of sorting.
Sorting?
Yes, sorting.
I think I've heard that before, but I'm not too sure what it means.
Something has to go for something.
Okay, nothing goes for nothing.
Yes, nothing goes for nothing. When excellence is not awarded by merit, people buy their way through things and through the system. That's sorting. Okay. When you're doing the work and I'm playing off, and when it's time for us to have rewards, I get more reward even when I've done nothing.
More of the work. Okay, when you've done nothing.
Nothing, yes.
Okay.
As that system requires, you get, because still sorting is still doing something actually, but that's not the basic requirement or the legal requirement for excellence to be awarded. So
in other words, sorting is illegal.
Very illegal. Very illegal. You can. The system is not supposed to reward sorters. It's supposed to reward learners, right? It's an institution of learning, okay, not an institution of sorting. So why do we have to now sort to get excellence?
So in the layman's language, it wouldn't be wrong to say sorting is buying grades, so to speak.
Or blocking.
Or blocking. The common word, blocking.
Okay, yes, I see you laughing, Ivory Chukwu. What's your take on this?
Well, the fact still remains that we are trying to get it right, but we've not actually gotten it right.
Okay.
And in recent times, I think I'm also aware that universities are trying to bring out policies that will discourage sorting
Okay.
or blocking. But this also is not just about the university, but the government has a role to play. Because if I'm comfortable, if I'm well-to-do, I'm not sure there's any amount of money you want to give me to make me, do the things that are not proper.
Okay.
So, but however, if for instance you are working in a place and your take home is convenient and comfortable enough to take care of your bills, you have savings and run your family without stress, I'm not sure somebody can just easily walk up to you and say, please, I need you to do me a favor, take this. Because the person first of all rates you to know, if this guy really needs this. So when the system is not making that happen, you now see that, you now start seeing people compromising. Because it's not about, if A is not willing to compromise, I'm not sure B want to sort.
Okay, so you're attributing it to economic factors?
Yeah, there are a lot of factors that we need to also be sincere. There are a lot of factors that must have actually led to that. But we are not saying it is justifiable.
Okay.
But however, what we are saying is that it is not, when it comes to a citadel of learning and the ivory tower of our institution, when it comes to ivory tower, those kind of characters are not supposed to be encouraged because you are awarded your certificate for character and learning. Okay. So, and sorting should not be part of the character of any student in a higher institution.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's a good way to kickstart. But this actually is a question on my mind right now, okay? Character and learning, moral and academic standards, are they intertwined? Or is it possible for them to stand alone? Can we take a look at one without, taking a look at the other? Favor.
I don't think so, because just like as it is said, in character and in learning, someone can be so learned, so much learned that when it comes to the relationship here, he has garnered with people, you want to rate it 0. So what becomes of the learning? Because, for example, a popular school that is around us here has their motto as knowledge for service. So in the spirit of servitude, what becomes of knowledge?
But there are people who are academically sound, right? As far as academics are concerned, they are top-notch. But,
characterize
same can't be said of their character. So do you think that's a problem?
It is. It is a problem, because
even though the ivory tower is primarily for academic purpose.
It is.
And learning.
Okay.
And when we now bring in the learning factor, like I asked, what becomes of your learning when it's time to serve? Because your learning is not for personal consumption only. It is for you to make value of yourself and the society at large. So you're supposed to serve the society. So in your daily activities, where you meet with people, where you meet with other members of the society, how do you foster a relationship? Is the relationship healthy? I've met people who are very, very good, straight A's, and when it came to times when they had to interact with people, it was a chaos. You see all forms of toxicity, all forms of violence, and you'll be like, I thought you were supposed to be educated.
Have behavioral defects.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a factor. You cannot remove. I don't think we should at any point separate any of those.
Okay. Now, what steps do you think can be taken to address, the declining quality of teaching in our public institutions? Ivory.
Well, thank you very much. I think there are a lot of steps that actually need to be taken to address the declining you said the declining what?
The declining quality of teaching in public universities.
Part of what needs to be done, if we have to address that, is that you don't just, there's what they call training and retraining. I'm not sure we have much when it comes to that in our institution. Okay. They just believe that you are there, you are supposed to go and train yourself. You're supposed to develop yourself by yourself.
Learn on the job.
Learn on the job.
Okay.
There's supposed to be training and retraining. There's also supposed to be opportunity for you to have exchange programs, with other experts.
When you say training and retraining, do you mean a system where lecturers, for example, have to be assessed?
Yes, of course. Because you're a lecturer does not mean that you cannot also undergo training on your own.
Okay.
As a lecturer, you're supposed to, with time, you're supposed to be trained on the evolvement. Let me use that word, because everything is evolving.
Okay.
The education system also evolving. The way education is today was not like it was 20 years ago. So the lecturers need to also be brought to speed to the recent trend with respect to the educational sector.
Okay.
So they need to be brought to speed. They need to be trained. They need to be appraised from time to time. Because like when you hear lecturers from Western world talk, I think there was a time, some of us while we were students, they felt very, very embarrassed, almost depressed, where when you assumed maybe a new section or a new level, some lecturer will be telling you, if you don't read, if you in the last, maybe the last section, most of them failed, you know, you shouldn't be bragging about the poor performance of your students. Rather, you should be bragging about the high performance of your students. To say, okay, for instance, like, hello guys, last section we had about 70% pass or high performer, but I feel it wasn't good enough. Guys, I'm going to do all I can to teach you guys this section. Let's see how we can beat that record. Let's see if we can get 90. Let's see if we can get 95.
Yeah, we've seen cases where lecturers even amplify the failures of their students.
You understand? Not you telling me that you all failed. If you are telling us that your student failed, it means that you are not doing the right thing. It means something is missing somewhere. It means perhaps as you are teaching them, they are not actually understanding what you are teaching. To be blunt,
it means you have failed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to see how we can start looking at it from two sides of the coin.
Okay.
You know, the flip side. We look at that. Okay, why are the students not performing? Then you should also, you know, sometimes another thing also feels that our lecturers sometimes are overburdened. We have to also be sincere with that. For instance, you're a course advisor of almost 200 or 300 students or 150 students, preparing everything that has to do with the student. Yeah. Then you're also a lecturer who also goes to class to teach. Maybe perhaps you're taking 2 or 3 courses outside every other assignment that might be given to you. Now you see that your performance will not be very accurate.
Okay.
It will not be high because you as a lecturer automatically, I feel you're already stressed. So we need to see how we can reduce this burden.
Okay.
If somebody is a course advisor, perhaps let's just say you're a course advisor for this section or for this particular category, everything that we want to make him not to be able to perform adequately in his job at that point in time should be taken away from him. Because as course advisor oversee, the lecturer or the course advisor gets to know the student one-on-one, know whatever they are passing through, know how they can also call for either psychosocial support or whatever support, you know, counseling for this student, and get to know them and get to help them improve academically.
Okay,
but
so
now
you're saying in a nutshell that the workload could be a burden.
Of course. You're also aware that our universities are understaffed.
Understaffed, yeah.
So these are some of the factors that need to also be considered if we must get it right. Take a look at some of the private universities. You hear that perhaps they have, let's just say one lecturer taking a certain amount of courses, and perhaps instead of the lecturer to be doing the job of a course advisor, they employ somebody else who is an advisor. But in our own here, you will do the lecturing, you do the advisor, you do everything. You know, project supervisor, there's, you know, seminar supervisor, IT supervisor. The work becomes
a jack of all trades.
You get, so it's you wouldn't expect them to be at their very best because they are already overdrained, they are already stressed.
That's right.
And I don't know if they even have time to go for leave because they're understaffed. So these are some of the things. The educational sector, we must get it right. Everybody has a role to play, but there must be an enabling environment for these lecturers to perform.
All right.
Without that, I'm sure that a lot of things.
All right, if you're just joining us, it is Flipside on Independent Television, and we're taking a look at upholding academic and moral standards in Nigeria's ivory tower. We shall be going on this break. The program continues afterwards. Please stay tuned. Yes, it's great to have you back. The program is still Flipside on Independent Television, and we're taking a look at upholding moral and academic standards in Nigeria's ivory towers. Now, Favor, I would like us to examine some of these ills beyond the classroom, in the streets of, campuses. And I'm sure you already know what some of these ills are. You know, cultism, drug abuse, prostitution, and all whatnot. Despite the fact that these things happen outside the walls of the classroom, they invariably have an impact on the performance of the average student in the classroom. How so?
Yes, when you consider all of these, let's take a closer look to drug abuse. And well, drug abuse, if you look into the system of these people and their social life, you realize that most of the people who are into this practice of abusing drugs are the very social people, so to speak. Now, I'm not saying it is restricted to these people, but when you see parties being held, when you see social functions being held, events and weekends and all of those, that is when indulgence increase most times. So for some persons, I think they get to meet their first drug practice during these events.
Okay.
You go for an event and the drinks
influence.
Yes, the drinks are mixed with all sort of things, and they tell you just take it. You need to get high and all of this. And first time you get a knockoff. Second time it becomes normal. And third time you are wanting it. Fourth time you can't even live without it. And it goes on and on. And that's just one of the facets of all of what we are considering.
Okay.
Because drug is just one. And for this situation, you want to also see prostitution. You get most of the clubhouses in Benin City, as a case study, get their girls from the schools. Go to the okay, let me not call any institution now. Go to some institution of learning on a Friday evening from between 7, 8, and 9. You see buses, good buses, vehicles parked, being loaded by girls, very good-looking girls from higher institution. I'm saying in front of the higher institution. I'm not saying at the back, in the front. Sit down, look at what's happening. Where are they going to? Are they going for a vigil? Oh, but when all of this happens, and it is time for exams and tests, where will these people be? Where would these people be? So it affects their general academic performance. Yeah. And when performance is already skewed or distorted, then will result to what? Sorting. Or sex for grades. So you see how it accumulates to a serious problem in this academic system of learning. Yeah. So if we don't, and I also want to blame again parents in some respect, because what would you say when, for example, a child writes post-TME, is waiting for the results, and the parents have already gone through all the offices in the university, trying to look for who to talk to
for soft landing.
Yeah. Why not just wait? The system will always, at some point, reward merit first before anything. That is what we know, at least to a great standard, to a great extent. So why must the parent have to go through from one point to another? But that's just posterity. Do you know in most of the SSC exams that it's copy and paste? Special centers everywhere.
Special centers.
So you see, the problem is coming back from home.
From the roots.
The roots. So when these people get into the system and they are frustrated or desperate, they remember, oh, there was a time my mom did this and did that. Maybe that might work again. That system is activated.
So it all boils down to cutting corners.
That's the general Nigerian problem. And I've said it here countless times before, and I'll say it again. This country, this state is a state that is pretending to be asleep. And you cannot wake someone who is pretending to be asleep.
The person can only wake up when
he wants to.
Okay. All right, thank you so much, Favor. I see you were itching to respond to that.
Yes, in addition to what he said, outside, when you were just talking about every Friday weekend, dirty Fridays and all that, sometimes we wonder, because even those who recruit these girls for parties are also students. They have their mamas now who comes to pick them.
The mother hen.
Say, we have this, so you have to go and stuff like that. But it's so unfortunate that at the end of it, sometimes you also see that these persons that end up getting even good grades and those people who are serious in school. Because somebody somewhere can just put the call and say, what will it take? Okay, help us out, sort it out. The way you talk about sorting. But however, if I am comfortable and I am principled, you cannot call me, because if you do, I will not tell you, sorry, it's not within my power, I cannot do it. And I think I also like the way some institutions are also going now. Because I feel what some institutions are doing now is that one person does not take some courses anymore. Okay. You get like 2, 3, 4, 5 persons taking one particular course.
Division of labor.
So if you trade this young man, you might not be able to infiltrate this next person. You might not be able to infiltrate this next person.
Might.
So, I know why I use the word might, because you can only speak. I
guess Favor is insinuating that it's still possible.
Very possible.
No, but I don't know. But however, as at that point in time,
okay,
and when you now know the cost of passing through 5 words for one course,
that will probably discourage you.
That will probably not discourage you. If you are passing through 5 words, this one say, okay, I have mine is 10%, but because even if 10%, you have to give me XYZ. All of them do that. You are supposed to do that for about 7 or 6 courses, I'm sure you want to sit up and say.
You end up asking yourself if it's worth it.
Then when we were in school, there was one thing I tell myself. When people are thinking about, me and my friends, we have a small team of us. Okay. We call our, just like a reading group. Even after we finished, we still became friends. To sustain our part. What we do is that we'll just say, instead of you to look for money to go and block one course, use the money to buy food and eat very well, so that when you are reading, you'll be comfortable to read.
Exactly. But you know, that's your friends, right? Now I had friends too.
Okay.
In the room, in the hostel, that said, in fact, these guys were hardly in the room. They were never in the room, but they had a bed space in the room. They also had spaces outside school, off campus. Do you know what he would always tell me? He say, you see that particular course, I'm not the bother myself. I'll go face work. Let me just be working. I'll go to work. I'll gather the money. When time reach, I pay, I pass. But you see this or that too, I know this lecture, I know the collect too. I'll try read this one. If I get D or C, I'm okay.
Imagine such a level of confidence in the corrupt system.
No, it's not corruption, and this is strategy.
I know you are being sarcastic, but hey, we know what this is about. Like, how can you be so confident in the system?
Yeah, you are sure that you can.
But you know that people always say, who reads?
I pass. They know who read next serious, who pass next.
No book.
That was the slogan they used to
Till tomorrow, it is still there. Before I became a student of the higher institution, I heard it. Then I listened to it, I experienced it, I've left, I still hear it.
You saw it firsthand?
Yes. So why would I now be killing myself? You have to use strategy.
Okay. Now, I still find that quite hilarious. But I would like to ask this, okay, because in all of this, the accusing finger has been pointing towards just one sector, okay, of the system, the students. Do the lecturers have a share of this blame?
Before we consider the lecturers, can I quickly say something that some 3 shows before this show that I was there with some other men, I can't remember their name. I said something before we left that the biggest problem in our society today is not the people only, it's poverty. And I said, majority of Nigerians are poor. So not until we address poverty.
Okay.
A lot of things will not work. Okay. Because like it is said, everybody has a price. Okay. Why the thing is that some people's price are more than so. So if you cannot afford me, you can't buy me. Okay. But right now, everybody is cheap.
Everyone is affordable.
Everybody's
as a result of poverty.
Poverty.
Okay.
So before we now consider the lecturer, the students are poor. That's why they will go to hustle their Friday night life or Saturday night life. The lecturers are also poor. That's why the proceeds from the Saturday night life, you have to give to us. So you are happy, I'm happy.
Okay, so let's see what exactly the lecturers do in all of this that makes them culpable.
Okay. One, they on their own have not done their bits. Now, what do I mean by this? How do you explain a situation where a lecturer that is supposed to take a block of a course, he knows that he has not sufficiently taught enough. He knows. Then when it's time for...
some even, say that some of these lecturers do it on purpose. That they deliberately leave out certain, should I say, teachings, concepts, and part of the curriculum, just to starve the students. So that when it's time for examinations, these students come back to...
I think that is relative.
It may be relative.
The reason why I say it's relative is that what's supposed to be the normal standard of the academic calendar. If, for instance, you are taking a course and the academic calendar says within 3 months and 2 weeks or 4 months, and the schedule for those courses will not be able to cover that academic calendar. That academic calendar is too short for that courses. You see that the lecturers will just want I think some lecturers might just want to brush over the surface or take as much as they can, then set the question with the area. But for some who might be lazy, I agree, some might be lazy. I still feel that those kind of, I think that is why they also introduced that 2, 3, 4, 5 persons taking some of this course.
Okay.
So that if the course is bulky, you just take this part, you're taking this part, this person is taking this part, this other person taking this part. Then before you know it, they're able to meet up.
Okay.
We agree that some of them might be lazy. We agree that some of them I'm not sure anybody, if you're a lecturer, I'm not sure you might want to punish anybody. I'm not sure. Except maybe you were witch hunt while you're in school. And even while if you're witch hunt, would you want to also not transfer what you experienced to somebody else? That's wickedness.
But there are people
wickedness
who are just
naturally
wicked.
Perhaps, but everybody cannot be wicked.
But do you know that like I always want to draw everything back to the home, where we come from. Now, for example, I don't know if maybe for those that attended the boarding school, do you realize that in the boarding school, when you are a junior, you are praying to become a senior?
Yeah. Just so you have the privilege to also oppress people.
All
right, we'll have to go on this break now. I know you have a whole lot to say in that regard, but we'll have to go on this very important break, and when we return, the program continues. Please stay tuned. Well, it's great to know you're still there, ladies and gentlemen. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, and we're taking a look at upholding moral and academic standards in our Ivory Tower. Now, before we went on that break, Favor was trying to give us a picture of what happens in our boarding schools. Yeah.
Yes, just like I was saying, you realize that as a junior, you're doing everything possible. You cannot even wait to become a senior. This is not because you want to go and read more books. This is not because you want to wear finer uniforms. Just because you want to have the opportunity to intimidate and
just
oppress.
The same way you were probably intimidated.
Yes, so it's a chain of institutionalized problem. Now, why did I just make reference to this? Now, you were talking about the lecturers and how they threaten students and thereabout. Now, see another scenario. In Nigeria sports, so to speak, a coach is mobilized to take the team for Nations Cup, World Cup, and if the coach does not perform, what do we get to see most times? He's fired or he resigns, right? And everybody's happy. Oh, thank you for coming. God bless you. Go. We want someone else. Yeah. And that's how you see in previous times, coaches have been changed now here and then, right? Now, what becomes the situation in these institutions of learning where we know a lecturer has not performed? Okay, we judge the performance of the coach by the performance of the players, right?
Players, yeah.
And the results and how they win and how they lose. But why is it different when it comes to the institutions of learning?
Students are supposed to be, lecturers are supposed to be rated based on the performances
of the students, right? But when we see that there's mass failure, as they call it, in a particular course that is supposed to be handled by a particular lecturer, does the school do anything about it? No. Is anybody sanctioned for this? No. Does anybody answer to anybody? No. In fact, it is even celebrated by other lecturers, and other lecturers may even be making reference to say, you see that course, if you are not careful, you will fail like those students. And everybody's scared and everybody's afraid.
Are there any particular measures you think the school can take?
I think part of what they need to do is that they need to have an effective feedback mechanism. I know they will say they have Servicon. It's not about Servicon. Part of what I feel they need to inculcate now or introduce now to schools is that they will have, at the end of perhaps every semester, they should have a way where students give feedback about the performance of their lecture.
They're not bothered students.
No, hold on. What I mean, it could be they could just ask, what I mean, that could also be as a way of also,
is it realistic?
No. It is.
There's already a feedback. I wrote exam and I did not.
What I mean,
like we generally know.
No, what I mean is this. Yeah. At the end of the semester, let's assume now you are my HOD, you are my lecturer, I'm the student. You've taught me, I've been taught for this semester, and the semester is winding up, or it has winded up. They've rounded up the semester. The university sent me a feedback evaluation form to ascertain the feedback of what that semester looks like academically. Okay, what were the courses you took? How will you rate these courses? On a scale of 1 to 10, then you get the average. Was the lecturer...
You also get to rate the lecturers.
Yes, now, was the lecturer effective? Yes, or was that? Then from there, you collate this feedback.
I think what Favor is saying, sorry to interrupt, I think what Favor is saying in a nutshell, boils down to the question, do the students have the guts, have the nerve to rate their lecturers, knowing very
Without
well
being
that they are still at the mercies of those lecturers.
There's a way we should stop always looking at the negative side. For us. Hold on. We want to see how we can implement a change now.
Okay. Now you are being idealistic.
Yeah, of course. We should stop looking
realistic.
at I'm being from my own point of view. I'm also being realistic because
realistically speaking, do you know in the
system? Now, you're getting this feedback. It's not because you want to insult anybody.
Okay.
It's to at the end of that assessment.
Yeah.
The department cannot have an appraiser to say, from the feedback we got, the best lecturer for this semester goes to this person.
Okay. You're saying that the result will not be communicated back.
Of course, you will not.
Okay.
You now use a form of an appraiser to say, okay, there's this fall short from this angle. Please, we feel this department or these courses need to be reevaluated or need to be reviewed.
What if such appraisals leak? Isn't that possible?
We should be able to. I think from what we are having, from the conversation or the feedback I'm getting is that we are at a point where we feel we don't even trust the system.
That's the thing.
But we don't trust the system.
Sometimes we should be able to see. Let's give it a try and let it fail. They will not say
it has failed. I failed.
You are in the system, and you are.
I am looking at. We should think about innovative ideas to see how.
But Favor, let's look at your concerns. What exactly are your fears?
My fear is, you do that, your name is tagged, you are profiled, and you are dealt with. Do you know that in Nigeria, most institutions of learning, no lecturers have successfully been driven away? Go and check.
Driven away as in expelled?
Expelled. They go for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and in 5 years, they are back into the system. Go and check. Go and check. So what happens to the period when this person returns back to the system?
What happened to whoever it was that was
that was a whistleblower.
Yeah, a whistleblower.
In Nigeria, whistleblowers are not safe.
So it's not just within the ivory tower.
No, it's an institutional problem.
My brother, my friend, we are not talking about. We are not talking about. Hold on. Look at what we are looking at. Now we are looking at how we can enhance our higher institution in this country. How we can bring it to world-class standard. For instance, if we must compete globally, we must start bringing in initiative that resonates at the global level. Not always looking at, but some private schools in Nigeria are actually doing it as working. Why is if private school universities are doing it and it's working? Yeah. How come we cannot now replicate same in our own public universities?
In fact, I think he just
let him respond to that.
I think he just answered the question we've been answering now, which is I said initially that the problem is what? Poverty.
Okay.
Now, do you know what it takes for you to train your child in a private university? So and look at the statistics of the kind of people in private universities.
Because it's common knowledge that private universities are more expensive than.
They are more expensive. So I cannot have paid that amount of money for my ward or my child, and you're telling me what you're telling me about my child. You can't even say it. It is the poor that gets to face all of these vices.
But in all honesty,
and the poor gets to use the poor.
In all honesty, in private universities, because of some of the school fees they pay, you see management of those schools are very careful on how they handle this students, even when they are misbehaving, compared to public universities. Okay. Let's be realistic here.
We are supposed to be all equal.
Hold on, sir.
Just like in the animal farm.
Yes, of course. But some are more equal than others. So in that case, if you are not saying that because of poverty, we agree. Of course, there's nobody that is not poor. Everybody is poor. You can actually be wealthy and you can be mentally poor. Okay. There are different forms of poverty.
So poverty is not just.
It's not just you not be able to provide the basic amenities for yourself. Now, what am I trying to say is, we must start thinking aright to say, this thing is possible, even when we believe that there are some factors that limit it from happening. Let's first of all give it a try and see. And you might not necessarily start with the entire public institution. We can pick any institutions in Nigeria and now say, okay, let's start with the department. From the feedback we get from this department, let's see how can I use this evaluation or this feedback we get to see how can I improve. Subsequent semester or subsequent section, from that feedback, we will now reevaluate. Last section, we got this feedback. And at the end of it, when we did the appraisal and we did management meeting, this is what we came up with. We were able to charge the staff to see how we can improve on this. And we have been able to implement observations or feedback from what we got from last semester in this semester and this new section. And let's see. At the end of this section, you cannot evaluate, you cannot do the evaluation of this section I just ended and the previous section to see if there was any change.
I am particularly concerned about the well-being of the students in question. Okay, we're talking about appraisal.
Nobody will victimize anybody. I just believe
it is not true.
That's the thing.
It is not true. It is not true.
It's easier said than done.
As far as we are talking about the public sector, where the federal government is in charge, it is not true. This is only practicable when we are talking about the private.
I try not to think like an average Nigerian.
We are all average Nigerian. We can decide.
I try not to think.
You see why I said we are pretending to be what?
I think this is a case. I think this is, if you ask me, I think this is a case of idealism versus realism, right?
The ideal is not possible.
But change is possible.
Given the realities on ground.
Yes, the only reality that I see, that I know, is the fact. Okay, do you know that it is still the same lecturers from the public university that still goes to the private universities to teach?
So it's like a spillover.
So if I in university XYZ owned by the federal government, I'm wicked, I'm mean, I'm desperate, I'm vile. But when it comes to university PSY, which is private, I'm good, I'm reasonable, I'm nice. What changed in between?
In between.
And you see why when
something must have gone wrong.
There's a standard.
You see what?
That the moment you enter into that system, you must conform to that standard.
So you see why? That's why I said it is a systemic problem.
Okay.
So in this system, the ideal is not obtainable.
So in other words, you're saying that the system needs to be overhauled.
Totally.
All right.
But it is not possible.
Why is it not possible?
Okay, like I said, it's a case of idealism versus realism. But you see, we'll examine that more thoroughly right after this break. Please stay tuned. All right, welcome back. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, and this right here is the final lap of the show. Now, let's take a look at the incessant disruptions of the academic calendar, occasioned by situations such as strikes, demonstrations, and the rest of them. Okay, so what do you think? What strategies do you think the system, the university system, can put in place to mitigate against such unfortunate occurrences? Favor.
I don't think there's much the universities can do, because they are the ones clamoring.
Okay, so they are more like the victims.
They are the victims.
Okay.
So let those in charge, the government that are supposed to be responsible, do what they need to do. All they ask for is fund us more efficiently, fund us more properly. So,
but do you think the university or the Ivory Tower can be funded enough? Can ever be funded enough?
Yes.
Because this issue of clamors for adequate funding and the rest of them seems not to be coming to an end anytime soon.
Because it's deliberate. Because it's deliberate. Like I said, we are a state pretending to be asleep. And so, like I said a while ago, every single thing you see in the society is a reflection of the schools.
Okay.
So if the system wants it to work, if the country wants to work, the schools has to work. So when the schools work, it will reflect in the general society. And like I said, it's deliberate. If we have people who can think for themselves properly available today, do you think there will be more vices? If we have people who can critically analyze the situation and make better decisions, do you think we'll have issues that we expand and magnify on every day? No. That's why you see, the system is made to not work, because when it's time for elections, there needs to be tools to be used. So as a farmer, when it's time to work and you don't have your tools available, what would you do? You'll not be happy. What happens to your farm? Now the tools here are the people, the so-called graduates who are actually not graduates.
The personnel.
From these schools.
Okay.
How do you explain a situation where a scientist, so to speak, has graduated, and that scientist doesn't even know what science actually even means? But let me expand it more for you. A mechanical engineer still takes his vehicle to a mechanic at the roadside and is still asking, what is spoil for my motor?
So what happened to his own expertise as a
5 years, then additional 1 year for NYC and some other few practical years and IT and the rest. Then there's a point where you have to do coring and all of those things, and you are still taking your vehicle. Just small troubleshooting. You can't even do that. I'm not saying overhaul the engine. Just troubleshoot. And then you see this
At
happening.
least to identify the problems.
We have a system that has trained a lot of therapists, you know, social workers here and there, yet people still find themselves in church seeking for help.
You see this rope you are trying to draw, my brother. You have to.
It's a rope of reality.
No, because for me, I feel that the government have a lot of role to play. Our educational system actually, they are not properly funded. They're underfunded.
Okay. So
and when it comes to research,
I think you guys are on the same page.
When it comes to research, how much are they actually earmarking for research? There are some research grants when it comes to Western, when you see somebody, just an individual, getting over $1 million grant for research from an institution. You see people having hundreds of thousands of dollars grants. How much are we giving for grants? For research as grants in this.
But what have they also done with the little that?
No, hold on, sir. You know, research is very expensive.
All right, guys.
He who is faithful over little will be faithful over all.
Now, for the sake of time, okay, I think we're actually pressed for time right now. So, as we begin to wrap up, what are your final words as regards the steps that can be taken to make our Ivory Tower more worthy of its name, so to speak?
I think some of the things that need to be done is that we of course, our institutions are open to collaboration, but I feel they need to be open more collaborations. Then I feel it's also time that they need to keep doing training and retraining.
Okay.
And they also need to partner, because you cannot do everything on your own. You need to also partner with institutions that have similar visions with like yours, for exchange programs, so that your lecturers can also go there and see what it is to have this experience. And when they've been able to go there, of course, their orientation will over time will change.
All right.
And they'll be bringing whatever they'll be able to see back to home. And
thank you so much, Ivory. Now, favor in less than 30 seconds. Thank you.
I feel employment should not be based on hunger.
Okay.
A lot of persons are employed because they are hungry, they need a job. Let me just...
You seem to be really passionate about this hunger thing.
Yes, because it's true, everybody's hungry. I'm hungry. So when we start recruiting based on merits and standard and excellence, competence, then we can start the direction to where we want to go.
Thank you.
For now, we are lost.
Thank you so much. I hope we find ourselves, okay, because we can't afford to stay lost. But thank you so much, gentlemen, for doing me the honor of being on the show with me today. We've been taking a look at upholding academic and moral standards in our Ivory Tower. And of course, I've had two amazing gentlemen, Favor Sadzi and Iberi Chukwu, doing justice to this discourse with me. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you. All
right, the show has been Flipside on Independent Television. I want to say a big thank you to you out there for making it possible for us to do this once again. Well, the higher institution, or the Ivory Tower, is a very prestigious institution, and you know, what we put into it is what it will produce. Okay, so it is not just the responsibility of the the system or the lecturers. It is also the responsibility of the government of the day to ensure that it's up to its right standard. That way, it can keep bringing out the right personnel that will lead the society to El Dorado. Well, once again, a big thank you to you guys for being on the show with me. My name is Harry Igboje, and until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and bye for now.